It's Alicia Kramer, and in this week's Mentor Minutes, we're going to talk about some tips for how to break the habit of negativity. Before we even get into the tips, we have to talk about why negativity is one of the biggest inhibitors to success and goal achievement. When you hear things about the law of attraction, the law of vibration, it starts to make a little bit more sense. You understand that essentially what you are putting out into the universe in terms of your own energy is what you get back. When you understand how the subconscious mind works and you realize that repetitive thoughts, repetitive emotions are conditioning your subconscious mind to continue to default to those things, then you also recognize that negativity can become a real problem. If we look at this in a really practical way, right off the bat, and we simplify this as much as we possibly can, what you're going to notice is that when you're feeling good, you tend to have very positive, optimistic thoughts. When you're feeling negative, you tend to have very pessimistic, negative thoughts. When I refer to this as a habit of negativity, it really truly is a habit that a lot of people develop. That tendency to see the negative side of things, to feel like life's not fair, to feel disempowered or hopeless or helpless, or feel like you're always struggling for control, or you're feeling insecure, you're noticing self-doubts. All of those things are lower vibrational thoughts and emotions. Doing that over and over and over again, now you are programming the mind. You're creating all of those neural pathways to those habitual old thoughts and feelings. And it starts to take on a life of its own, where you find yourself getting triggered by a lot of different things in your life and defaulting to those same old negative tendencies. It is obviously counterproductive if you want to create a happy, successful life where you're thriving and you're abundant and life feels good. You can't create a life that feels good if you're consistently, habitually feeling bad. So this is the perfect segue to some of those tips where you can begin to recognize with more awareness than ever before when you're defaulting to some of those negative thoughts, those negative feelings. It's very easy because you feel it. You find yourself thinking the same old self-defeating thoughts, feeling sorry for yourself, feeling disempowered, feeling fearful. When you notice that you're doing that, the first step is obviously awareness, because you can't change it if you go for long periods of time without recognizing that you've defaulted to that old pattern. When you notice it, even if the old habit has sort of subconsciously, unconsciously gotten you off on some negative momentum, and you don't recognize that you do it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 5 hours, okay? Whenever you notice it, just be grateful that now you are aware, because you can't change it until you're aware that you're doing it. So rather than beating yourself up over it, you're just going to simply acknowledge it's just an old pattern, but I am reconditioning myself to change it, essentially, right? So then what can you do? Because we all know that once you're feeling really negative, it can be very difficult to shift into a positive mindset. And the reality is, it's not realistic to go from a strong negative state up into a super high positive state. It defies the way that energy works. It defies the way that the universe operates. But you can begin to shift that very quickly. I like to use the analogy. You're going to go up the staircase in a logical sequence. You could do it slowly or you could do it quickly. We want to do it quickly. So now that you have identified that you're feeling the negative emotion, the first step after that is your willingness to release and let it go, and your willingness to begin to embrace a new mindset. If your mind is so sure that you have to stay angry at that person, or so sure that you have to struggle as though somehow that is going to make your problem go away, you're going to have a very difficult time changing your emotional vibrational state. But if you recognize it's just an old habit, I'm never going to resolve this issue with that mindset, I'm willing to let it go. Well, now the mind is much more open to reaching for those higher vibrational thoughts and emotions. Our affirmations can be very, very helpful, especially when you've anchored them into the subconscious mind. That's one of the really, really, really nice things about self-hypnosis, or even if you are really well versed in meditation, you can get yourself into that optimal brainwave state where you're accessing the subconscious mind. Think of that power mantra, something that is stated in the present tense, something as simple and basic as, I allow myself to see and feel so much good in life, as long as it really truly feels good to you. It does not matter what the words are. There's no magic words, contrary to what people will try to sell you online. It's about the feeling that it evokes within you. Does it feel real and true to you? Does it feel like something you can really grab a hold of and believe and know in your heart is in fact possible for you? So play around with the wording. You can always tweak it. You can always change it. But when you get that power affirmation, now in that deeply relaxed state, you're just simply going to repeat that over and over and over again. And you're going to give yourself permission to feel it, really, really, really feel it. And we're anchoring that into the subconscious mind. You can do it with certain hand positions. You can just simply trigger that state with your affirmation. You can anchor it in some other way. I typically would recommend, if you're going to do any type of anchoring exercise, make sure it's something that you can readily do anytime. So for instance, I would not want to anchor my positive affirmations to something like an object, because if that object is unavailable, it's going to trick my mind a little bit to think that I can't re-enter that state. So again, some things like pressing together the thumb and index finger of either your right or left or both hands as you're saying your power affirmation, and really creating within yourself that emotional state. As you do that consistently, repetitively, it anchors it deeper and deeper into your subconscious mind. Then when you find yourself in one of those negative triggered states, it's going to be much easier to identify feeling this old feeling. That's all it is. It's just an old habit. I'm willing to release and let that go. And now you can state your power affirmation, use your anchor if you have one, and it's going to be much easier for you to begin to re-enter that more positive emotional state. When we break the cycle of negativity, it's like snipping that old neural pathway and you're replacing it now with that new positive feeling. And so you're essentially replacing and reprogramming, which is really, really, really helpful. And obviously, this is something you're probably going to be doing a lot of times throughout the day, especially if you have a chronic habit of being negative. Another little tip that I'm going to give you is find healthy things that make you feel good. When I say healthy things, that means going for a walk, change your state, change your environment, make yourself a nice, relaxing cup of tea, take a bath or a shower, go to the gym, pet your dog, something that triggers within you that more positive emotional state. We don't want to resort to things like drugs or alcohol. Those actually are counterproductive to the reprogramming effort. So what we're looking for is those healthy, empowering, high vibrational activities that you have positive associations with, that you can incorporate into your day to help you break that pattern of negativity. Those are just 2 tips. There are, of course, other ways that you can find to help you recondition yourself to be a more positive person. Try those 2 out, use them continuously, and you're going to notice that not only are you going to start to feel better, but you're going to be more of a vibrational match to the success and the goals and the dreams that your heart desires. Again, this is Alicia Kramer in your weekly Mentor Minutes. Make sure you reach out to me on social media. And of course, you can learn all about the products and services that I offer at aliciakramer.com. And until next time, we will see you in another Mentor Minutes.